when the president tweets as if he has the authority to terminate temporary protected status for Somalis in Minnesota, even little kids in 8th grade know that that is not an authority that the president has and can wield. The other unlawful thing that our lawless president is claiming to do so is to terminate that status for only one state, which he has no authority to do so. So, for the 300 or so people that are impacted, that currently live in Minnesota and across the country, we see you and we stand with you, and we will make sure we do everything that we can to help make sure that your status is adjusted before March of 2026. Because you know and I know that there is nothing temporary about people's lives here in the United States.
Look how offended she is that the President of the United States would dare to deport Somalis who are illegally here and engaging in massive welfare fraud back to Somalia, the place that they claim to love. It's because it is not in the best interest of Somalia to deport the people who are robbing American taxpayer money and sending it back to enrich Somalia. They will do whatever is best for Somalia, whether that's stealing $350 million of welfare funds for hungry children, $500 million meant to help children with autism, or engaging in immigration fraud to make sure that their cash cow does not stop. Ilhan Omar married her own brother to circumvent immigration law, and she's offended that we look suspiciously upon people who break our laws to enter our country and then continue to break our laws by stealing money meant to help children and funnel it back to the place that they allegedly had to flee from. Oh yeah, how dare Donald Trump. She's only this openly entitled because, as she stated in the last clip, she believes the U.S. government exists to serve the benefits of Somalis in Minnesota on behalf of Somalia, the country.
Now, this clip is wild because Ilhan isn't hiding anything. She's literally telling her own community on camera, 300 of you need to get your papers in order. TPS, running out. That's not casual. That's not normal. That's panic prep talk, if you ask me. Whenever a politician starts warning their base before the government does, it means something's coming that they can't stop. That's what that means. And that something showed up immediately after this clip dropped. Because while Ilhan is telling people to fix paperwork, Trump hits the button that makes that message 10 times scarier. He posted Immigration and Nationality Act Section 212. Whenever the president finds that the entry of any aliens or of any class of aliens into the United States would be detrimental to the would be detrimental to the interests of the United States, he may be, by proclamation and for such period as he shall deem necessary, suspend the entry of all aliens or any class of aliens as immigrants or non-immigrants, or impose on the entry of aliens any restrictions he may deem to be appropriate. And this is pretty huge. This isn't a brag. This isn't a speech. This is Donald Trump quoting one of the most powerful immigration laws in the country. 212, I'm learning about. Ain't that the degree that water boils? Yeah. That's your science fact of the day. But he didn't just, he didn't even add a caption. He just posted the law. That's how you send a message without saying a word, right? And when the president uses 212, it means he's seeing something detrimental to the United States, all right? Which brings us to the part Ilhan never wants to connect to TPS, the fraud, right? Because, you can't talk about TPS panic in Minnesota without talking about the money story Minnesota is still trying to pretend doesn't exist.
So over the last 10 years, Minnesota's Somali community, it's about 100,000 people, mostly in Minneapolis, a neighborhood called Little Mogadishu, for obvious reasons, has been conducting fraud at an eye-popping scale. I mean, truly extraordinary. We're talking about billions of dollars, billions with a B, that are getting sucked out of taxpayer programs, routed through various fake NGOs into the pockets of Somalis in Minnesota. But one detail that we uncovered, they're actually taking bags of cash, taking them on commercial airplanes out of Seattle, out of Minneapolis, out of other airports, flying this cash to Mogadishu, where it's dispersed through a network of informal money changers. The Al-Shabaab terrorists take a cut. And it's like every government program imaginable, they're setting up these front organizations, autism, social services, feeding the hungry. And they're pulling in, tens of millions, if now not hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And the other kind of dirty secret of this story is that the Minnesota state government, the Democrats who are in charge, Tim Walz and others, have effectively turned a blind eye to this because they don't want to offend the Somalis. They don't want to, earn the accusation of racism, which the Somali activists are very ready and very eager to deploy. And they feel that they need the Somali vote in Minneapolis to win statewide. And I hope that the story will have some impact on the particular level, meaning law enforcement, which has been doing a good job rounding up some of these groups, will extend their efforts, but also opening up these larger questions about immigration, about identity, about who we let into the country, what are our expectations. This should be an obvious one, right? You can't steal billions of dollars from taxpayers. That's like a no.
This clip explains everything. Minnesota wasn't dealing with a small scandal, right? It wasn't a few fake invoices. It was billions moving through fake nonprofits. And yes, a huge chunk of it came from within the Somali network in Minneapolis. Now, think back to Ilhan saying 300 people need to fix paperwork, right? That line hits very differently now. I bet. The government is cracking down on fraud. CPS is ending. Looking like 212 is going to be activated. And suddenly, Minnesota's biggest protected community is realizing the shield is gone. This is why Minneapolis is shaking. And it's not just fraud. Minnesota has a deeper history that the media always hides.
This one's really fun. Did you know that the FBI recently declared Minnesota's 5th congressional district as the terrorist recruitment capital of our country? Who is it represented by? Omar. And it just so happens that when Obama imported 70,000 Somalian immigrants, they all stayed there. Can't make this stuff up. We are inviting them in to destroy our country. This one's really fun. Did you know that the FBI...
Here's the uncomfortable part. The FBI labeled Minnesota's 5th district, Ilhan's district, as the recruitment hotspot years ago. Not because all Somalis are bad, but because the environment was perfect for radical networks to pull from. So stack this. FBI concerns, years of fraud, TPS, and then Ilhan warning people, Trump activating 212. Minnesota isn't experiencing random chaos. It's the bill that finally is coming due. And once enforcement starts in one city, it spreads to the next. Which takes us to Dearborn, ground zero. What happens next? Tom Homan does not talk for attention. I'm going to tell y'all that right now. When he says ICE is ramping up arrests in Dearborn, that means agents already know who they're targeting. Dearborn isn't used to this level of federal attention. So when ICE show up, the pressure starts leaking into everyday issues. And that's exactly why this next clip shows this. Because I'm sure to check out what Dearborn residents are arguing about now.
But the mosques in East Dearborn are now at times waking us up at 5:30 in the morning with the call to prayer.
This is Dearborn resident Andrea Unger at last night's city council meeting stating that mosques using outdoor loudspeakers for their call to prayer should not be allowed, and says she believes it's not supposed to be allowed per city ordinance.
The noise complaints have been made out and the police have made numerous visits. What is the next step?
There was some question whether or not any outdoor loudspeakers are allowed, something that was not clarified, only that more evidence is being gathered. But CBS Detroit did examine Dearborn's noise ordinance and found that loudspeakers between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. are in violation of the ordinance.
But the mosques in East Dearborn are now at times waking us up at
This isn't a religious fight. This is a city structure fight. Dearborn has noise laws. 5:30 a.m. loudspeakers break those laws. City ignores it. Residents feel disrespected. Resentment obviously builds up. When the rules stop applying equally, people stop trusting the city and they start confronting each other directly. Which leads to this moment. A Wall Street exchange you're not going to see CNN touch.
I saw you about to throw down here in the middle of the street.
Hey, man, listen, these people hate our country. They hate everything we stand for. We have to oppose them everywhere they go, all right? Black or white. If you're a Christian in this country, these people hate your way of life. They oppose your existence. We can no longer allow this. They come over here with their Ford Fusions. Go back to your country, all right? Go back to Somalia. Bye-bye. Go back
You think any of this is fear-mongering from the right?
No, it's necessary. You know, it's not fear-mongering. We need to do this because we're looking what's happening across the pond in Europe, in Berlin, and France, all over, in London. Do we want to be like that? No. And black people, guess what? This country that you live in, you benefit from it. So you should stand with your Christian brothers. Stand with our white brothers and sisters. This is our country that we've built together. We lose it, we have nothing. We lose this land, there's nothing else. You're not going to go to Africa and survive. You're not going to go to the Middle East and survive. Guess what? America was built by Christians. White people conquered the land. Black people benefit from it. We have to stand up for it. That's important.
Now, this is the type of moment that tells you a community is reaching its breaking point. A black Christian man standing in Dearborn confronting Muslim men on a sidewalk. That doesn't happen in a city that feels calm. That happens when people feel pushed, unheard, and outnumbered. This is cultural pressure boiling over, and it doesn't stay local. Because this next clip shows the national tone that's feeding all this.
We're done hiding. We're done. We're done being tortured and hurt and judged. This is the correct religion. This is the religion that all of humanity needs to be a part of, Islam. And we will not stop until it enters every home. So I want you to repeat after me. I want to hear it in every single district. It should tremble. Brooklyn should hear it. The Bronx should hear it. Queens should hear it. Say it as if the Ummah depends on this, my brothers and sisters. La ilaha illallah. There is no God worthy of worship except Allah, the God of Jesus, the God of Moses, the God of Abraham, and the God of the last and final prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. We're done hiding.
See, this is the kind of speech in Times Square that hits Americans differently in 2025. We won't stop until Islam enters every home, he says. People don't hear that as religious outreach, not after Minnesota, not after Dearborn, not after fraud, TPS panic, and ICE raids. This is exactly why Americans are on edge. And if you want to know where it all leads, to if it's ignored, I want you to look at Europe. This is Brussels, a Christmas market overshadowed by smoke, flags, and chaos. Europe ignored the warning signs. Europe said, this will calm down. Europe said, it's just cultural differences. Now, even holiday events feel tense. And this is why Trump posted that through 12. This is why Ilhan is seemingly scrambling. That's why Minnesota and Dearborn feel unsafe. This isn't about hate. This is about pressure. And pressure doesn't disappear. It just moves. Minnesota's paperwork panic, Dearborn's cultural tension, Times Square confidence speeches, Brussels showing the future, and Trump's firing off the strongest immigration tool he has. This isn't random. This is the same story playing out in different cities. And if you're still watching, you're the type of person that actually still pays attention. All right. So if you made it to the end of this video, what do I want y'all to write this time? This isn't random. Yeah, that will work. This isn't random. Y'all be safe. Please go check on a friend today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.